Cooking food prices as well. They are soaring in Ghana, leaving both buyers and sellers struggling to keep up, to match their pace. Traders say the rising cost of ingredients is shrinking their profits, while consumers complain they can simply no longer afford basic staples. Well, what's the situation on the ground? Jacqueline and Somaya Boa has been on the ground. Here are some interactions with people from the market.
Food prices in Ghana keeps going up and up. Today, I'm at Malata Market to engage customers and sellers to find out more as to how these prices, the price increase is affecting selling and buying at the same time. But first of all, I want to get some food stuff for myself and have a fair idea of the prices. Mommy, me pacho makono, what is she saying?
5 cedis.
5 cedis. Inti say you're saying, and I say so say you're saying. Interesting. And now nyaduan is way 5 anything. Well, just as you can see, so this is 5 Ghana cedis worth of pepper, 5 Ghana cedis. But mommy, food prices no over the last few months no, or her prices no, saying na asifa I change saying.
I change. But last month no. It be 700.
The pepper is 5 cedis, while the garden eggs cost 5 cedis or 10 cedis. Food prices have changed drastically. Just last month, a bag of pepper cost 600 to 700 Ghana cedis. But now, just within 3 weeks, the price of green pepper has doubled to 1,400 cedis per bag. Before that, I used to buy it for 700 cedis. The red pepper is even more expensive, now selling for 2,400 cedis per bag. As for garden eggs, a bag now costs between 1,500 to 1,600, and this
in the year 2004 and 2000 echo price in engine, but mostly 2004. From 2002 to 2004, in a bag.
But talking about mekono, now some mekono nina yedi nina free baby neba. I didn't yempe Ghana yemekono.
Ghana they na started ba.
Afe
neba. Be just 1 week money, but enyam Bruce we a ban market kakra and no cry ban bag near 1,003. Yeah.
Real quick before I call baby and mate on toast no me person me bisa say because the prices in the cost no one will turn there no who make it profits and also who make it losses.
I say see an dear. You say enough the boy womb, a bedroom hand bebre say, and Emma ye lose super.
Let me get to where I'll be buying the tomato. And mommy, afternoon no. Me in toast no what is anything? 25. Wait you saying? 5 cedis. And me pay we so where you saying? 40 cedis for and when I friend is saying only olonkana konko rather paint rubber no over the last few weeks no prices na ekoshwana
sisi a heat abanti no ebe kosoro and awusafo no so ba bedi omusala no.
The prices have increased due to the current heat, which is impacting cost, and with Salah approaching, that's also driving prices up. Previously, a bag's cost between 1,600 and 1,700 Ghana cedis, but now it's around 2,000 to 2,200 Ghana cedis. Sometimes, if some are a bit soft, they might lower the price to 1,500 Ghana cedis. But when they are all in good condition, getting a better deal is unlikely.
Ebi wo ho anambo boy wo mo be yiswama. Ebi a 16 15 de orbe mo. Nanso emu ye de a untimi nya no price a o pe bia ne last price obeja e 20 and 21.
And so prices no so you're saying BB to say something like this, how much? 10 cedis. And me who say smaller ones too, how much? 5 Ghana cedis. And also no the prices no in the last 3 weeks, just as you were saying, and also not prices no.
Sometimes say can say depending for change of money.
Onion prices vary since they come from both Nigeria and Niger. Last week, the prices were relatively stable, and there has been a recent decrease.
And that's when you be 900, 95, and 1,000. And you know the price, no, as it's the price no about 4. But last week, no, and it was so kakra. And you 2,200 different.
Prices of onion has decreased over the last 1 week now. So the last few days the prices has gone down roughly by 200 Ghana cedis, because these ones are coming in from Niger and other countries. But we're still not done. We're hoping to engage more customers in the market to find out how this is affecting them. But once we engage more sellers, probably yam, basic food items that we all get every day, to have a fair idea of how this is panning out in the market. So let's get to the other places where they sell the yam. I finally made it to the yam sellers table right inside the market. And ma, Bayerna Bako, so you're saying?
40 Ghana.
40 Ghana. Bayerna Bako. I didn't hear.
Bayerna, why didn't Yam prices
have become very expensive, especially at Ablobloshi market. 100 pieces go for 7,000, 6,000 and 5,500 Ghana cedis. Last month, a tuber was 30 Ghana cedis, but now it's 40 Ghana cedis. Farmers say they had poor yield this season. With little rainfall, supply has become very scarce. Prices increase almost every week. Sometimes 100 pieces even sell for 8,000 Ghana cedis. Different types of yam, including yaminti, puna, asana, and araba. A bag of puna can cost between 6,000 to 7,000 Ghana cedis, while a big tuber of puna yam goes for 50 Ghana cedis each. Customers keep complaining about the high prices, but there is nothing we can do. We are also making losses.
If you wish prices here, cost you as someone out on Wadeno, Usha, a wow, a maunya more profit and a maunya loss.
Oh, Melusu, Fisaco Baba, Nebisi Apro, Baby, Nata Pro, a Cofa Baba Penapronti, the Bia, a quiet sick and a tussle. The Bia, this is a competitive for the streamers and the Aquafavo floor. To buy the boarding.
Interesting. Well, that's the yam seller. And just as she said, one yam inside the market, this yam costs 40 Ghana cedis. The popular yam in the market is puna. That one, a tuber, is 50 Ghana cedis. Usually, the full sack, if you get 100 pieces, some of them cost 6,000, 5,000, 6,500 and above right inside these markets. But then let me find some of the customers in the market to engage them on how these high prices is affecting them. Met a food creator. Are you a food creator?
I'm doing everything, so.
All right, so he's a creative or a creator on YouTube, and he's in the market. Coincidentally, we met here, and the prices. What did you come to market to buy today?
Okay, so this is my second time. Like today, I've done market rounds, but this is the second time, and this is my go-to market, Malamata market. This morning, I went to CMB. I came to get like protein. Tomorrow, I'm doing Ramadan giveaway for our Muslim brothers and sisters. So I'm here to get some proteins, and I might say the prices in market now is outrageous. It's like everything is on there. Everything has increased. Like today, if you buy something at 10 cedis, the next day you come and it's 20 cedis. Could you believe I bought yam? I heard you said 50 cedis. Puna is now 45 cedis in CMB, and Malata market is like 50 cedis. You get everything is outrageous. Like yesterday, some time ago, I bought egg at 50 cedis. I went the next day is 70 cedis, and a lot of things are now overpriced, like extremely expensive. Cost of living in right now. Yeah. It's very bad.
So what do you think are some of the alternatives that could be done to help reduce the food cost in the markets?
I think if more of these crops are grown in Ghana, I don't know if most of them are grown here in Ghana.
Asking the pepper seller, she said that the pepper, everything comes, it's not being done here. Yeah. But then she said we do get pepper from Ghana.
We do get, but I don't.
But onion is actually being imported out from.
A lot of like the basic things that are needed for in the kitchen for cooking are not even gotten in the country, so it makes everything expensive. So if like the Ministry of Agriculture or whatever the government is doing, if they should make sure that most of the things we consume are Ghana-made products.
What did you buy?
Plantain, ripe plantain.
Ripe plantain. But usually when you come to the market, often what do you get?
Maybe plantain and cassava.
Okay, so last month, how much were you buying plantain?
10 cedis. When you buy 10 cedis, they'll give you, but now they're 20 cedis.
10 cedis, how many? You can't get plantain for 10 cedis now?
No.
Really?
Yes.
So unless you buy 20 Ghana cedis?
Yes, maybe 4. They'll give you 4.
4 for
20 cedi.
Interesting. And apart from that, is this affecting your purchase habits? Usually, considering the number of things that you come to the market to buy, has it decreased in any way?
Yeah. You have to add money to it so that you can get plenty. I was even asking the woman to just give me plenty. She was like, no. Maybe unless I buy 20 cedis before I'll get plenty.
But from food sellers to consumers and buyers, one thing looks clear. The price of food is squeezing the pockets of Ghanaians. Speaking to the food creator earlier, he shared with us that even at inside Accra, that's a bigger market where most of the women right here in the market will go for the items. The price is also high there. But the big question remains, what is the way forward for this? Some of them believe that it's seasonal. Some of them have been talking about transport. Some of them have been talking about the fact that some of these products could be done right here in Ghana and it would help benefit the people. Reporting from Malam Ata Market, I'm Jacqueline Ansuma Yaboa.
So why are prices escalating? What is happening? What can we do about it? Joining us for a conversation, the people who are on the ground, who know all about farming and the intricacies of it. Anthony Morrison is CEO, Chamber of Agribusiness, Ghana. Enyonam Manye is the Ghanaian farmer. She joins the conversation together with Bismarck Norte, Executive Director, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. Sweetie?
I don't know the last time any of you went to the markets, but whatever you were able to buy with, let's say, 1,000 Ghana cedis, today you need about double of that to purchase the same food items. And since you're on the ground, Senyonam, I want to start with you. Colorful shirt, by the way.
Thank you very much.
What's happening out there in the markets?
Good morning to your viewers. So when it comes to food prices rising, a lot of factors contribute to that. And king of them, I would say, the inconsistent weather patterns that farmers are experiencing, or climate change.
Right.
Gone were the days that our parents are able to predict and they get it right. That, okay, this is the time we start plowing, this is the time we go into, sowing, and it continues in that order. But in this day and age, or in this modern trends, with climate change around, the weather, you even predict and you fail. So farmers, as we speak, the last time I checked, it's around Suhum and Asamankesi enclave that have started planting their maize, because for them in the Koforidua area, the rains are coming continuously. But my people in the water and central belt and, for the north, they've not started at all. So the inconsistent weather pattern is one. And of course, as we speak, the agro inputs, farmers still are talking and complaining about the high prices of agro inputs, such as seeds, the fertilizer, well, thanks to government that is giving us some subsidized fertilizers in the system, some NPK and then urea. But beyond that, there are a lot more that farmers would need to do the production. Tractor owners who are renting their tractors, the prices keep, going up every season. If this season you plow 1 acre for 400 cedis, it's likely the next season it goes up. So these things, coupled with other factors, are the reason why you can see that the food prices are going high.
Okay.
I drove through Kasua recently, the onion markets, to find out about the onion they have presently in the market and where they are getting it from. It's from Nigeria and Niger. So what are you expecting? If you go there and they pay high cost transportation, definitely it would go to the final consumer. So that's what we are seeing on ground.
Just a quick follow-up. When it comes to onions, for example, we know that we get a lot of them from other countries. What is local, production? about what percentage are we able to meet in Ghana?
Per what the people who buy are telling me, we don't even produce a quarter of what they need.
That's not even up to 25%?
No.
Not up to 20%?
Yes, we don't get, because onion has a certain temperature under which you can grow it. And so it's not all the regions that you can grow. Somewhere in the eastern area, around the Brie area thereabout, there are some foreigners who are trying their hands on onion, but the weather is too cold, according to them. So it's not too conducive. And that's why we always get it from the northern part. And then there are down enclave, the Sege area there, they also do a bit of onion. But the volume that we need and the lack of irrigation, coupled with a few other, bottlenecks, are the reason we are not meeting the, volume that people need to sell. So at the end of the day, they fall on our neighbors to get it into the country. And then the prices will definitely soar. Yeah.
Interesting perspective there. But Anthony, you're CEO of Chamber of Agribusiness. Can we really blame the hike in food prices on agribusiness? Not your chamber, but the business of agriculture. Can we blame it all on agribusiness?
I'm sure you plugged this question.
I didn't plug this one with.
Well, thank you very much, and very good morning to Benjamin and your good self and the viewers out there, and my sister here. The issue we are facing in the country with regards to the current food prices is as a result of the challenges we are having with the demand and supply. We are currently having a short production rate as against the consistent demand that we have. And if you look at that, we are looking at the vegetables, we are also looking at the grains and cereals. But that of the vegetables, the household income have increased now. If you look at it, agriculture doesn't take just a day or two. You need to plow. Sometimes you're talking about tomatoes and other vegetables, it takes you about 3 months, okay? So 90 days, some can take you 120, okra and cabbage and thereof. Now, if you remember last season, we had the issue of drought. We were supposed to undertake some mitigation solutions. The then minister, who has some support from the World Bank, about $120 million, that were supposed to have been used for the drought mitigations, instead of buying them the irrigation materials, okay, drilling some of the boreholes and making sure that some existing wells are well drilled so that they can have water during the dry season, decided to buy rice and maize and share to farmers across the country. And so the whole of last year, we were not actually intentional about food production. We were looking at intervention mechanisms. And I think this is some of the spillover that is affecting us now. Let me also emphasize that when it comes to the drought season, the ground becomes so hard. For instance, I saw ginger being mentioned. Currently, there are no ginger because the ground is so hard. If you try to harvest, you lose everything because, and now that they have also stayed in the ground for so long, they have overgrown and they will not be ideal for home use. They can only be ideal for either pharmaceutical or factory uses. So we are going to see the demand going up and prices. But let me touch a little bit on the onion my sister made mention of. Onion is a Lamborghini of all vegetables in the country or in the world. Several people consume more onion and it's very expensive. But at the same time, in the case of Ghana, we do onion, just as she said. Let me elaborate a little bit. If you go to Akumadan area, the Volta region, the north, but it is very laborious. Unlike the way you enjoy to pluck your tomatoes or your pepper or garden egg, for onion, it's about a waste issue. You need to be able to bend and move. If you look at the way the Indians plant, and because of the way they do their land preparation, they are able to have it in an easy way. What we need to be looking at to resolve our onion importation bill, which currently stands around $800 million a year, we should be able to support our farmers with simple production, onion production tools that can get them to transplant and also to harvest the onion and also do the sorting.
That's a good point. I want to run by the Executive Director, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. He joins us via Zoom, Bismarck Note. Good morning, Bismarck. Thank you for joining the conversation. Anthony was just talking about how we are still using waste issues to harvest and plant and all that. And it's, in a way, contributing to the hike in food prices that we are seeing. What is your initial reaction to everything we've said at this point in the conversation?
Yeah, good morning to you and good morning to Anthony and my sister in studio and to the listeners. Yeah, I have listened to my panelists and I couldn't agree more with them regarding the factors that are accounting for the soaring food prices. Based on the work that we've done and on our interaction with our members, we have categorized them into 4 main factors that are accounting for the rising food costs. And if we are not able to do much as a country to address these factors, this scenario might continue. I must also admit that these are seasonal because if you observe, normally around this time, from January to probably April or May, it's normally the beginning of the planting season. So ideally, you have much less food in the market. However, the challenge has been the rate at which the prices are soaring up, and that's where the issues are. Now, if you look at the factors I mentioned, the first one has to do with the high cost of production, which my sister spoke about. The fact that the cost of inputs, the cost of seed, the cost of fertilizer, the cost of agrochemicals has gone up. The fact that the cost of agricultural services has gone up astronomically. So this is also impacting on farmers. The second point is that there is also a land squeeze, meaning that lands available for farming are getting limited by the day. The issue of illegal mining comes into being. The issue of resource mining across the country comes into being. The issue of converting a lot of our lands into concrete comes into being. So now there's limited land for farming. So that's also accounting for the limited land space that farmers have to use to do their farming. The third point has to do with the issue of irrigation, which my sister, climate change, which my sister spoke about. The fact that we are having very unpredictable and inconsistent weather patterns. And if you listen to the GMET, the forecasts are that this situation might prolong. In fact, early this year, they had a stakeholder engagement. And if you observe the forecast they presented for the year, it appears that we are still going to experience some extended dry spells across the country. So if we do not find solutions to this particular challenge, then we're in trouble.
Right.
And the last point that I want to make, the last factor I want to talk about is the issue of harvest and post-harvest, which we've not done so much as a country. So that during the main period, the main season where we harvest so much, because there is no mechanism to store, there's no mechanism to transport. Our transport systems are weak, they are poor, the roads are terrible, a lot of the foods go waste in the system. So the little that comes to the market, the traders will have to up the prices to make up for the losses that they incurred along the road. So for me, these are the 4 main factors that are influencing the food source that you're experiencing. And I'm confident that the government will be able to put in place measures to address these challenges.
Just on that same point, I mean, if you go back to the Nkrumah era, there were thoughts and even some implementation on silos. Whatever happened to that? Do we as a country really need to start focusing on such storage facilities in key areas? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that discussion has come a lot. I remember even last year, the former Minister of Food and Agric launched an initiative to construct a hill silo in the Eastern region. I don't even know how far that particular intervention has gone. But I think that if you observe the kind of post-harvest rate that we record in the country, especially with vegetables, if you even look at the grains and cereals, then it brings a lot of discussion regarding how well we are able to store food during the bumper season. We know the role of the National Foodstuff Company, that's NAFCO, and their role to mop up the excess food that farmers are producing. But they are also incapacitated. So the issue is, even if you put up a lot of silos, but you don't have a system where the state is able to buy the food from the farmers at competitive prices, then the silos might not serve any purpose. So putting the silos is one thing, but putting a system in place to ensure that, one, the state is able to buy the foods from the farmers at very good prices. Two, the transport systems are fixed to the extent that when you are transporting the foods from the farm gate to the location of these silos, you do not have delays on the road. The roads do not ensure that the food crops delay on the road and get spots. And the fact that there's enough production. So I think that having silos is one thing, but there are other factors that you should consider to ensure that you have a win-win. Because even as I speak to you, you know the previous government embarked on the one district, one warehouse. As I speak to you, a lot of the warehouses are just in the bush, serving no purpose. They become breeding grounds for snakes and reptiles because we didn't put in place a very comprehensive system to ensure that having the warehousing also comes with other services. So the idea of the silos are good, but I think it is not sufficient. We have to put in place a whole sophisticated and holistic system to ensure that we address the issues of post-harvest losses.
All right. Coming into the studio, of course, I know you would want to have a bite at that. It must be a composite effort. It can't just be silos in seclusion, right? But we have a lot of gluts, which means that it stands to reason if you are losing so much in terms of tomatoes, for example, local production, if you have silos, storage systems, so that there's no glut, farmers don't end up losing and creating also some food insecurity and insufficiency. It can be. But my substantive question to you, even as you address the silos, what then, because it's demand and supply.
Yeah.
Once the season is out, it's like avocados. Once the season is gone, and then you see the prices escalate from maybe 7 cedis to 20 cedis and the rest. What foodstuffs should we be focusing on, knowing our consumption? Local staples should we be focusing on so that all year round we can at least guarantee to some level some food sufficiency? What should we be looking at? And I'm starting with you.
You see, when it comes to food consumption, the thing that feature in our food preparation, it's the whole year round. There is nothing like, okay, yes, there's nothing like I need tomato this month and next month I wouldn't be needing tomatoes.
Exactly.
I am rather looking at, in terms of the food loss or food waste, I'm looking at the quality of food we produce. Okay? Beyond having a storage facility to maybe mop up the excess, like Bismarck mentioned, mop up the excess that would be left to store and let it into the market when it's needed. How about the quality? In recent times, when you go to the farming community or when you even go to markets to buy these vegetables, in about 2-3 days, it's all getting rotten. This is in your house that you are keeping. They tell you keep it in the fridge, and still, you buy from the local market, you keep it in the fridge. In some few days, you bring it out, and it's
what's accounting for that? Use of fertilizers, poor farming methods.
Exactly. So I am hoping that Honorable Eric Opoku would employ more extension agents.
Okay.
To release them into the field to help our farmers about the better way of going about production. Because right now we are already battling it out with galamsey. Our lands and water that is being used to produce is contaminated. So that alone has a problem on the quality of food that is being produced. Not to talk about taking it to the warehouse to store until it's needed and then released back into the market. Then, of course, let's also look more into the area of value addition. Burkina Faso is now adding value to tomatoes. What are we doing in Ghana? We have some factories in Bono, and what happened to them? Even northern area, we used to.
We are taking value. They add, we back.
Is that what we are going to be forever? Is that what we are going to be forever? Because honestly, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
We keep talking about this thing every year. It's like, we are always going around the circle. Can we make progress?
Can we make progress?
Yes, we can make progress. For instance, we have to increase our current production of tomatoes by some margin of 60%. because because Burkina Faso is now even processing the grade 3 or the grade C of their tomatoes. Don't forget we bring.
What does that mean?
So we grade tomatoes.
Yes, but what is a grade C? What?
So the grade C. So the first grade, which is a beef tomato variety that we bring in, has a little water content and thicker flesh, and also a thicker inside flesh. Now, what's
it like for salad?
So we have the cherry tomatoes. We also have the cherry tomatoes, which is for salad. The small ones that they cut for the salad. Now, what the grade 2 are quite smaller. So on the shelf, you may see some of these like 12 or 6. The ones that go like 4, you see they have the same price as the one with the 6 or the 12,
right?
Because of the size and the spotting, the meteor and the quality. Exactly. So we may have to increase our tomato production. What we are having now is more of the sub-regional insecurity issue is also affecting food trade or agriculture trade. You realize
Sahelian countries,
of course,
are mired in.
Yeah.
So it's also affected us.
Exactly. Our trucks are not able to go there and bring in food and all that. We also have to be mindful about the silo thing. There is a World Bank report by IFC which was done partly also by the chamber. It's clear that government have no business investing in silos and warehouses. It's now an area of the private sector. What we should rather do is to provide the private sector with the enabling environment for them to go into post-harvest technology like the silos and warehouse and have a social good for the country. So for instance, you have a warehouse capacity of 60,000. You keep, let's say, 5,000. So assuming you have 100, each of them is keeping 5,000 for government. Government really doesn't keep huge stock. Look at buffer stock. Look at Ghana Commodity Exchange. How much of grains and cereals do they have than to be spending $20 million, $200 million on setting up warehouses and silos when we do not even have the technology and the expertise to even manage and maintain them properly? So we don't need, as a country, for government to start investing in warehouses and silos. We have several of them. What we need to do is to give it to the private sector. It's the private sector that does commodity business. Government doesn't do commodity business. So that they hold some stock in trust for government. So anytime government needs it, they release it. But the cost of the maintenance and all that is on the private sector. So it doesn't put additional costs on us. Then also, Benjamin, one other major issue that is affecting food prices is the speculative activities of the traders. Okay, we know people hoard. We know people speculate that, there are no tomatoes or there are no ginger, there are no onions. When they know that they have kept 200 bags, 500 bags in their warehouses, and you see the prices jump.
Trying to make
exactly.
But then you are wading into price regulation, and of course,
but this is where we need the national security to bring in their human intervention. Okay. So, for instance, if you look at buffer stock, the setup, NADMO, the setup, and national security, in times like this, if they were having stock, they can then plant people in the marketplaces and give them this stock to sell at a regulated price. And you see that the others who are selling higher will align to the new person. But as it stands, yes, the post-harvest technologies are not there. We do not have the cold chain systems to host the vegetables, and at the same time, we are losing a lot when it comes to grains. In fact, I think in your video you haven't shown that of the grain because you remember I said Brian imported some rice. A lot of factories right now have a lot of local rice, but we don't have people buying. So we may have to also look at the cost of local rice on the market compared to the imported ones. So we do the calculation and understand where we are going to. But Benjamin,
final point?
Yes, we need to be deliberate. My sister made mention of the fact that, you also said fertilizers and chemicals. Let me say that the only way out is to go the Indian way. We need to declare each district in Ghana organic states or organic districts. Okay? Your health is your life. We need to make sure that at the same time we want to feed masses, we are taking care of our health. Declare each district in every region organic district, and you see the investment and the value of organic food production in this country. It will change the narrative. Everybody will begin to look at organic food. We will all be looking at, okay, I want a food that has been less chemical, less fertilizer has been used in the production. And that will change the narrative. Because we have a lot of depositories, raw materials that can be used to produce organic fertilizers, organic insecticides, organic weedicides.
Okay, just a quick point, Sweetie. So it's interesting, right? I guess we also have to cultivate a taste. It's a taste thing.
Yeah.
So would you do local rice instead of jasmine rice, basmati? What I say?
But we have the local rice that's also jasmine.
No, I get it, but I'm saying it's a taste thing. You get it. People prefer the foreign jasmine.
Benjamin, you are 40 years. When did you start eating foreign rice?
Who said I was 40?
You are 40 plus. When did you start eating local rice? Foreign rice.
There's something interesting that Bismarck said that it stuck on me, so I went to search for it.
Yeah.
It turns out he mentioned land squeeze. Are we losing arable land? I'm seeing the data here, the latest from 2021, and you see a steady decline. Let me start from 2016, where we had
which item is this? That
arable land.
Right.
Ghana's, the percentage of land that we have that's arable land. And from 2017, let me start from there. We had 5,565,130, right? And it goes up to 2019, where we have 4,661,644, and then all the way up to 2021, and then we have 4,708,900 hectares of land. What's happening? Are we losing arable land?
What you should be worried about is the loss of irrigable land. Because we used to have about 2.3 million irrigable lands, but due to the Galamsey issues,
in hectares,
hectares, yeah,
we have lost more than 60%. In fact, just recently I was told that some of the reserves also have been encroached in. And the irrigable lands are the lands closer to the river bodies that are also able to...
So they naturally benefit from...
Exactly. So those are the challenges, because in times like this, it's those lands that we need to cultivate to mitigate the increase in food prices.
And those buffers are now, most of them are gone. Even our forest cover,
Yeah, I think with the land issue, we need to have a dialogue with the custodians of lands. The chiefs, the family, exactly. They are the custodians. And so where my land is, for instance, Ayenswano, if it's not sand winning, they can cut down the maize, the cassavas, and win sand. And so the farmer is out of business. You've been sacked because the sand winning guys pay higher than you, who is an ordinary farmer. So sand winning is number one, and then number two is the illegal mining thing. And so we need to have a dialogue with the custodians of land to see how they know where it's reserved for farming and where it's reserved for other activities. And then wrapping up, I think that if we are going to bridge the gap, and then this issue of food prices going up would come down, then it means that we have to take a look at our irrigation system. Honorable Ropoku met regional ministers recently, and I am yet to get update on what they are doing so far. But we hope that it's not just talk, but they are walking the talk. Right. We want to see updates on that. Right. And with adequate water, quality water, using to produce food, of course, we would have made some progress coming year or subsequently.
All right, just something I want to run by you and Bismarck very quickly. Two things, what you just said. Morrison said we need maybe a district approach, district level approach. And then he also said that we need to go organic and all of that, which is very good, but organic is also more expensive. How do you deal with that? I mean, no. In Ghana, organic is pretty expensive.
It's actually the most cheapest.
The organic market I know in Accra. I don't want to mention specifics.
No, the production
they charge you more.
No, yes, because it's a niche product.
And so I think
I'm giving you if we do it
right.
on the national level, it's going to drive costs down?
Yes. I think it boils down to the consumer.
Yeah.
And also it boils down to the producers to market these organic things well. Let me know the value.
So explain this to me. If they use fertilizers and all of that, it's the easier approach, right? So
it's faster.
It's less cost intensive for them. They can sell it.
When we were doing the cost build-up, the production costs, volatility in the exchange rate, okay, we import the seeds. Let me add that 99% of all vegetable seeds we use are all imported.
Yeah.
Okay. Let
me also add that because the foreign exchange and fertilizers are imported, these are chemical-based fertilizers. The weedicides are imported. The insecticides are all imported. Even the machines we use for irrigation, they are all imported. There are forex that are on them. So they increase the cost of production.
We are wrapping the conversation.
So what I'm saying is, with the organic thing, all right, it's patience. If you're a farmer, you want to go organic, it means you need to have patience. It takes time to grow an organic food versus someone who is using conventional method of growing food. And the consumers themselves must agree to pay for value. Because so
you are saying that, yes, even if it's a bit more expensive.
Yes, I'm willing to pay. Okay. So long as it's healthy.
Let me go to Bismarck. Bismarck, what is your take on all of this? Organic, let's go nationally organic. At what cost? Bismarck.
No, I think that the discussion around organic has been there for a long time, and we have been strong advocates for organic farming. The challenge, the initial challenge as mentioned by my female colleague, has to do with the initial costs. So normally when you start, because you would want to have more of the organic matter, want to use more of the compost, you are avoiding the use of chemical fertilizer, which is faster. Initially you will spend more, but in the long run, what you are doing is that you are helping your soil. You are increasing your soil fertility in the long run. You are reducing, eventually, your costs with regards to synthetic fertilizer goes down. It gets to a point where even the vagaries of the weather doesn't have a huge impact on your soil because your soil has been much fertilized if you go organic. The discussion has to do with also our tastes as a country, where we have to find a way to instill the organic and local taste for our people to ensure that once farmers are going strictly into organic, a lot of the consumers will be ready and able to pay for the cost of organic. Now, let me wrap up. I know you're wrapping up, and then let me suggest some key things that should be done. I think that in the short term, the government must be focused heavily on ensuring that cost of production has gone down. And there are several ways that the government can do that. We know one, the budget is very heavy on the provision of subsidized seeds for the government flagship programs. That's the vegetable program and then the grain development program. And we know they are procuring and distributing seeds. So that will find a way to reduce the impact of the high seed prices on farmers. However, that might not be enough for all farmers across the country. So what we are even advocating for is that one of the key reasons why we are spending so much on this seed and fertilizer is because we import most of them to the country. In the long run, we expect to put up our own factories to be able to establish or develop our own fertilizer, both organic and synthetic. We have a lot of local seed companies in the country that we want their capacity enhanced so they can produce for the market. But in the short term, the tax exemptions that doesn't include agricultural inputs is making the cost of these inputs very expensive. So in the meantime, government can find a way to review the Tax Exemptions Act, include agricultural inputs and equipment, and ensure that their prices are reduced so that the cost of production reduces for the farmer.
And that's Bismarck Norte. Bismarck, unfortunately, our time is up. I want to give 10 seconds each to Enyonam and Because
Solomon Kwejo online, he says, please, organic farming is not cheap.
And 10 seconds, please. We have to go. Final words.
My final word is that as a country, we've come a long way, 60 plus years. We shouldn't be having this conversation. Agriculture creates no jobs. It creates a lot of income for the economy. Let's work on, like he said, inputs that come, machinery that comes. If there's a way we can give some subsidy on the taxes so that the input alone farmers' purchase can go down,
That's 10 seconds.
It would also go a long way.
Thank you. Anthony, you have the last word.
Well, I think that we need to look at the local content. It's not everything we need to be doing now, importing everything. What do we have in Ghana that can, expedite our food security and make sure that we are achieving the agriculture for economic transformation? And also, I'm happy within the government budget, they have made budget for vegetable production and also the irrigation for wealth. But what I want to say finally is that we need to support the production of vegetables in the urban areas. We have lost all the urban farming system to real estate and other things.
That's an important point.
And you see, the vegetable prices are not going up in the villages, but they're actually going up here in the cities. If we were doing the urban farming, they would have come in at this point to mitigate the cost. But now we don't have them.
Thank you, Anthony Morrison. And what that tells me as well, I remember growing up, a lot of the time, my family had backyard gardens and stuff like that. Another thing, people grow tubers. They harvest plantain. Yeah. I don't want to mention. I know farm before.
Anthony Morrison is CEO, Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, and Yona Manye is the Ghanaian farmer, like she calls herself, and Bismarck Norte is Executive Director, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. And this is us taking a look at hiking food prices. Do stay. There are a lot more coming your way, more conversations coming your way on the AM show. We'll be right back.